here we go. So you have your slabs. They've been sitting overnight, covered or uncovered, depending how gooey your clay was. Separated. That one's a little bit tippy. And now we have these slabs. We're going to take them off of the board and build on the board. And then when you put your slabs away for the night, you're going to put the slabs on the bottom and put your finished box sitting on top and wrap them all, because we have enough for one board per person. So that way they'll still all stay together, nice and secure, and you can get by with one board. So there we go. So I'm gonna unwrap here, check them out, and I wanna find probably my nicest slab to be the base, because then, I like this guy, he looks good, this one. Because we're gonna build on the base. That way gravity kind of holds things together for us. So I'm gonna start by putting these things, this one's a little bit more wobbly. I want this one, he's too little wet. Nope, he's good, he's good. All right, so I'm gonna line these up here and then I'm gonna set them out so I know how they're gonna go together, and I'm setting it out like this on the mat. And now I'm gonna score all these edges. Remember score and slip? Some of you did this on your coil pots, but basically I want grooves in my clay where they're gonna connect, because I wanna work those grooves together. So this is gonna sit on the base, so I need grooves here and grooves here, and I like these little crummies. The official term for clay crummies is nards. Great term, isn't it? So I'm gonna use those. I want those little nards because they're gonna kind of soften and work together. And then this one is gonna sit this edge, and this is why I lay them out, so I can see what edges are connecting to what edges. So I've used my serrated rib, I've scored and slipped wherever it fits together. Now, let's see, I'll put it up here so we can see it more easily. I see how they fit together. I'm just gonna line them up, make sure they're straight, get it all. Oh my God, something's wrong. Do you see what's wrong?
What's wrong? It's too long.
It's too long. But I had the template. I measured every single one against the template. It was all the same size. Why? Tell me why. I didn't mess
Oh,
up.
no, because the corner, the thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
This thing, there's a thickness to my clay, and that pushes this clay off the corner, right? Oh, so now what I do is I take my ruler, and I'm gonna rest it inside here, make sure it's straight. I'll show you. So this is sitting nice and straight. Oh, and I'm holding it very securely so that doesn't happen. So as this sits here like this, I know where that has to go. Now, I'm gonna set this down so it doesn't drop. I'm gonna draw a line with my needle tool, and I'm gonna cut it here on the canvas so that I know I get a nice straight cut. I put my thumb on the edge. You can use a needle tool or a fettling knife, either one works. If you use the needle tool, grab the needle, because sometimes these get old and they go pink and fly off. My eye, oh, it hurts. No, so don't do that. So I'm gonna hold the needle, I'm gonna cut toward me, and I protect the piece of slab I wanna keep, so that if something happens, that one's protected. And oh, look at this little gem that I have. Who knew that when I was all done, I could use this little piece as my flange? Oh, look at that. I could cut it, and I could take these little pieces, and they could be the flange for my lid. And they're already nicely measured. They're shrinking at the same rate. All kinds of good things happening right now. So, and I'm gonna build with 2 pieces at once, because even if this appears to hold, I can like turn around to get a tool and it's gonna fall. It just like, I need some support. So your first 2 walls, you're gonna build, make sure I got the right sides, together so they can help support each other. And you have to really make sure these seams are secure, because you're asking this tiny little edge to support this whole wall. And I'm all about insurance when I put them together. I want to make sure they're going to stay together. So I have nice grooves in there, and now I'm going to put slip. Remember, the slip acts like glue. So I have 2 jars of slip here. Do you see? And I put it on with a sculpting tool, a wood sculpting tool. This is like, it's a blob. This is almost like our plastic clay where I can push it and move it. This is not the slip I want. This is too thick. I don't want that. I want slip, oh, it's like melted butter. That's what I want, the melted butter. It's like very liquidy, even a little more liquidy than like house paint. That's what I'm looking for. Warm water, if you open the slip and it's not good, a little warm water should help with that. Mix it up. If it's not like getting a little gooier for you, let me know, I can help. And I'm just gonna take it, I'm gonna butter it on just like that. There we go. And make it lightly over the groove. The goal is not to squish those grooves. I want those grooves to stay there. This is just to soften that edge of the clay. And then I need this one, this little inside guy. We'll put a little butter on ham. Not sure why it's a male slab, but today it is. There we go. So I take this one, and there are magic words, sound effects that make it better. I'm gonna set this right on that edge, and I'm gonna go scoochy, 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 scoochy. And as I do that, I can feel the clay starting to grab it. If you wiggle it, you're meshing those grooves together. So I'm making those stay together, and then I take this guy, yep, that's the right edge, and he's gonna come over here. Scoochy, 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 scoochy. Let's get this one. Scoochy, scoochy, scoochy. There we go. And I wiggle it till I kind of feel it start to grab and make sure I'm all the way on that edge. A little bit of slip is coming out. And then, what's this called? Who knows? Serrated. Oh, that was good. A lot of serrated ribs out there. And then I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna do what's called stitching now. Remember how we talked about when you glued your coil pots with this? It was like tiny little fingers working for you. Same thing. Tiny little fingers working for me. I'm gonna take, there's some of that goo, that nice slip that's in there. I wanna make sure I get that in that seam. And my goal is to make this seam as clean as I can. So I'm gonna go all the way around, and I'm holding, while I'm doing this, I am supporting the other side of the slab because I want to make sure that that is there. And then I got this inside I gotta do too. So for that one, I'm gonna stitch with the needle tool. And again, it seems kind of counterintuitive, I think, to actually like dig into it, but think of actually pressing clay into that seam, and we're meshing like a little tiny pointy finger, meshing this clay, and I'll kind of turn it multiple directions, both ways. So I'm pushing clay into that seam from multiple directions. So I go this way, and I go this way. Let me turn so you guys can see over here. And squish back and forth. And I would do the same thing inside every seam. I'm gonna stitch inside and outside. What was the first thing I did? What was that first part? What was it called?
Scoring it.
Scoring it. I did score and slip is the first process. All together, everyone, ready? Score and slip.
Score and slip.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then now I stitch. What do?
Stitch.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Now, I'm gonna do one last thing here. I'm gonna get some nice, soft plastic clay. What stage is this in?
Leatherhard.
Very good, leatherhard. It's gotten a little bit drier. If I try to bend it, it's gonna break. There's like a hard chunk of clay in there. There we go. Now I got a nice soft piece of clay, and I'm gonna make a nice, thin, not so perfect coil. I don't care so much if it's perfect. I do want it round. Then I'm gonna take this guy, and I'm gonna dip it in the water. I can stop it just a little bit.
Okay, like popping on it? Okay.
Yep.
I took their attendance already.
Okay, and then I slide this in here. So there's a little bit of a wet coil inside there. And then I'm using the back of my fingernail or my thumb to kind of push it into that. I don't go quite all the way to the edge because I'm gonna add another slab there. But the reason why I do it right here is so I can get in there much more easily. I wet it. It's like a little wormy. So we're gonna add little wormies in the seams. If you think of it that way, perhaps you remember it a little more easily. I squish it, I hold the outside, and mush it. A well-made seam should be a little rounded on the inside so I know that it's supported. I'm gonna be looking for that when I'm grading these. And I would do that all the way around. Then on the outside, ooh, it's falling off. I'm gonna do the same thing. Oh, here's more. But I want it really thin. I don't wanna see like a chunky outside edge, but I do wanna make sure that nothing is going to break that. So I have a really thin slab. I kind of work it in like that. Take off the extra. Come on. And then I like using the wooden rib for this part. I want it clean because I want a nice clean edge. And then let's get this worked in just a little more. So I'm supporting the inside, really mushing that into that seam, and that's going to help me fill where I was stitching there too. So that evens that out. And now let's just wet that edge a little. I can go like this with the wooden rib. I might spend a little more time evening that out, but I don't want to take too much of your time. And voila, look at that. I have a nice, straight Hopefully straight, yes. A nice straight corner. So my seam is reinforced inside and outside. I would add the third one, get in there while it's easier to get in there, add the fourth one, and then I gotta kind of move inside. And then when I'm all done, if I have a flange lid, my lid would sit on here, and then I can do this. I can just add a little bit of water, kind of tap it, make sure it's nice and straight. And when I take it off, that water will leave a mark. So I can see right where the walls touch, and I can add my flange just inside that edge, and I would score and slip this. These to score and slip, you don't need to reinforce the seams. I would just score and slip here, scoochy, scoochy, slip and move that in, right? And then I can add that edge. If you already cut a little slab, you can score and slip underneath the whole slab. Then if I had a cut lid, I would just score and slip this whole thing together so the box is completely enclosed. This guy's not attached. There we go. So if this is completely enclosed, we're pretending now, I've built the whole thing. And then I need to make that puzzle piece that's gonna make it sort of fit together like a puzzle. Where's this? So I would draw it in first. So let's just say I want to have like a curvy edge that comes around, or a spiky edge, so that it kind of locks together. I could do that. I could also take a ruler. Maybe I put the ruler right up here toward the top. I gotta make sure it's lower than the seam so it's supported. So I'm gonna measure this here, go like this. Ooh, but this doesn't match. I gotta make sure that matches on the other side so my lid connects. And then I can do something like maybe I take the corner of the ruler and I draw a triangle. So I'm actually gonna cut that notch, and that's what's gonna help be the piece that holds it in place. What I can't do is something like this. I can't make a shape like that. Why can't I do something like that as my lid, is what I'm cutting it? Anybody got a guess? It won't come out, you're right. It's gonna get caught. As I lift up, that angled piece won't work. So I could make it straight, like a puzzle piece, but you can't have an angle that would get caught. So I draw it in first, I kind of check it, and I always cut my lid with the lovely, clean fettling knife. That's gonna give you the best cut. I'm gonna come around, follow my design. If I have a cut edge like this, okay, I did that wrong. Let's just do these two. If I have a corner, I'm gonna come in this way. Okay, I'm gonna take that off too. Let's get a little tippy. I have a corner. I'm gonna go straight, stop, come in at an angle again, stop, get that next part, and just make sure that you come over that edge. If it's curvy like this, or angled, I can follow that curve and do one continuous cut. Did I get through there? There. And then as I lift this, I don't want to mess with this edge. Right now it fits perfect. So I can clean off any little crumbs maybe on this back part or something, but I do not touch this edge because right now it's a perfect fit. So I put that in, and then I would finish the surface of the box. In about 3 days, we'll talk about surface, but that's building, okay? Thank you.